Today, we're going to share a story that will leave you questioning everything you know about life, death, and the possibility of miracles. This isn't just any story. This is the first-hand account of a hospice nurse, Julie Macfadden, who witnessed something so extraordinary that it shook her belief in science and logic. She had seen countless patients in their final moments. She knew the signs, the patterns. She understood exactly how the body shuts down. But one night, she saw something that defied all explanation. Now, as we go through this incredible experience, we want you to think about your own beliefs. Have you ever encountered something unexplainable? Could there be forces beyond what science can explain? Let's dive into this miraculous story. According to her, in her own words, "I am a medical professional. I believe in science, facts, and certainty. But this one story changed me. It made me question everything and consider the possibility of miracles or even supernatural occurrences. I don't know what to make of it, but here's what happened." She said she was on a late-night hospice admission. A patient was being transferred from the hospital to receive end-of-life care at home. It was late, and she was tired, frustrated even. Not at the patient, of course, but just the reality of a long shift. But everything changed the moment she saw the patient. She was young, too young, in the final stages of life. Based on Julie's assessment, she discovered the patient had only hours, maybe a day, left, and she was certain the patient wouldn't make it through the night. As a professional hospice nurse with a lot of experience, Julie immediately focused on making her comfortable. But then she met the woman's children, young adults in their 20s, completely unaware of the gravity of the situation. They were asking things like, "When is Mom going to wake up? When will she start therapy? How do we feed her?" They had no idea that their mother was actively dying. Now, this is something we want to take a moment to explain to you. In hospice care, nurses and doctors are trained to recognize the unmistakable signs of the end, when the body begins shutting down. According to hospice nurse and doctors, there are clear indicators: cyanotic skin, a bluish tint to the skin and lips, irregular breathing, a telltale sign that the body is slowing, the death rattle, a gurgling sound in the throat caused by fluid buildup. Julie said she saw all these signs. To her, the reality was clear. The patient was moments away from passing, but her children couldn't see it. She sat them down gently and explained what was happening. "I told them the truth, that their mother was in her final moments, that she was comfortable, but she was not going to wake up. I asked if they needed to call family members for support. They took the news with grace and began calling loved ones. Meanwhile, Julie stayed for a while, expecting the inevitable. An hour passed. The patient was still there. Knowing she had done all she could, Julie finally left, making sure the family had all the information they needed. She reassured them and told them what to do when she passed. And I reminded them to call us so we could return and help with the final arrangements," Julie said. Then she went home. As she drove, she found herself thinking about the woman, about her children, and about how sudden it all was. She hoped, more than anything, that the woman would pass peacefully. But the next morning, everything changed. The next morning, Julie woke up expecting to see a message about the patient's passing. In hospice care, when a patient dies, the family is supposed to call so the nurses can come and assist with final arrangements. But when she checked her phone, nothing. No messages, no notifications, no call from the family. She thought, maybe they forgot to call? It happens sometimes, especially when families are overwhelmed with grief. Curious, she called the hospice office to check who had gone for the death visit. The response? "We didn't get a call for that patient." That didn't make sense. Julie was sure the woman had passed during the night. There was no way she could have survived. Not with the signs she had seen. Not with the way her body had already begun shutting down. Determined to figure out what happened, she called the family directly. When the son picked up, his voice was cheerful. "Oh hey, yeah, last night went great. Mom woke up this morning and said she was hungry. She's in the kitchen eating pancakes." Julie said she froze. What? She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Trying to stay professional, she carefully asked, "Wait, your mom woke up?" "Yeah, she got up this morning, said she was hungry, so we made her pancakes. She's sitting in the kitchen laughing." In the background, Julie said she could hear laughter. She was in shock. Nothing in her medical training, nothing in her years of hospice experience could explain this. "I'll come over and check on her," she said, still trying to process what she had just heard. When Julie arrived, she saw it with her own eyes. The same woman she had watched fade away the night before was now sitting up, eating and talking. She wasn't just alive. She was thriving. Julie could hardly believe it. There is absolutely no medical explanation for how someone who was so close to death, with every sign of the body shutting down, could wake up and not only function, but actually thrive. And here's the most incredible part. This woman didn't just survive another night. She lived a few more months. A few more months of walking, talking, eating, and enjoying time with her family. She did eventually pass away from her illness. But the fact that she had been on the brink of death and then recovered, if only for a little while, was nothing short of extraordinary. But the story doesn't end there. Because Julie remembered something else. Something she had seen the night before. And this is where things get even more mysterious. Julie said she had seen something the night before. Something unusual. According to her, as she stood in the patient's room, ensuring she was comfortable, she felt a presence. At first, she said she ignored it. Hospice nurses often work in emotionally charged environments, and it's easy to chalk things up to exhaustion or an overactive imagination. But this wasn't just a feeling, it was something there. Behind the patient's bed, Julie saw what she could only describe as a large, powerful being. It wasn't a glowing, delicate angel like in paintings. No, this presence was massive, as tall as the ceiling, as wide as a car. It wasn't soft or translucent. It was solid, cream-colored, ancient, a guardian. Julie said she could sense its purpose. It wasn't there for her, it was there for the patient. And strangely enough, it seemed to acknowledge Julie. Not in a menacing way, but in a way that said, "I see you. But this is not about you." Then, just as quickly as she noticed it, the feeling passed. She brushed it off. After all, she was exhausted. It had been a long night. But after the woman woke up the next morning, after experiencing something that should have been impossible, Julie couldn't stop thinking about it. Had she actually seen something? Had she witnessed something divine? Was this a miracle? To this day, Julie said she still doesn't know what to make of it. This is what she said in her own words. "I am a medical professional. I believe in science, in facts, in certainty. But this story made me question everything. I don't know what happened that night, but I do know one thing. I witnessed something extraordinary." Was it a miracle? Was it something supernatural? Or was it something else entirely? What do you think? Have you ever experienced anything like this? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more stories about life, death, and the unexplained. Thank you.